The Toronto Raptors are slumping hard right now after back-to-back losses to two supposedly tanking teams in the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. And a big reason for that is the extremely poor play of Scottie Barnes. So in today's video, we're going to break down why he is struggling so much to start the season and if Raptors fans should really be regretting having not traded the player for Kevin Durant when they had the chance. Let's get into it. What's going on, NBA and Raptors fans? Welcome to Amateur Hour Sports. This is your source for the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news. If you enjoy videos and content just like this, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel. You can help me on my road to 13,000 subscribers. And also, along with these videos, you're going to get a live watch party for every single Toronto Raptors game. Also, if you find yourself enjoying this video along the way, then make sure you drop a like to give that extra support to the channel. It goes a long way to helping us appear to some new viewers. But our video today is going to be all about Scottie Barnes. And the reason for that is because he has been absolutely horrible to start the season. And especially in the last 2 weeks or so, he has been horrendous for this Raptors team. And it's really a stretch of this season where we desperately need him to step up. Pascal Siakam is unfortunately out with an injury currently. Yesterday, Fred VanVleet wasn't available. You need your good players to step up in those situations, really take over the game and help your team mitigate these circumstances and pull through and still continue to win games. But he has just not been doing that, to say the least. And another guy not doing it is Gary Trent Jr., and that could be another full video in itself, but I only want to do 10 to 15 minutes and not 30 to 60 minutes on this one. So the focus is Scottie Barnes because there are all of these high expectations on the player going into the season. I mean, there were guys in the offseason saying that Scottie Barnes should take the reins for this Raptors team in front of Pascal Siakam. That was a bit far-fetched, but there definitely were legitimate conversations, even from me, saying this is the season where Scottie Barnes should emerge as the second best player on this team, and Fred VanVleet should take a step back. And to start the season, that was very much the case. Fred VanVleet, his usage dropped the highest amount of any player in the NBA early on in the season, and he was content to allow other guys to just do their stuff on offense, mainly Pascal Siakam, who was looking like an MVP candidate. And that was really masking a lot of the concerns that we should have had with Scottie Barnes coming into this season. There were high expectations after being named NBA's Rookie of the Year last season, and after watching all of the film in the offseason of Scottie Barnes looking absolutely phenomenal, whether it was in the Rico Hines runs, whether it was in highlights in Pro-Am events, and though those things don't necessarily have to translate to the NBA and don't necessarily always translate to the NBA, we were specifying that on this channel, that these things are great. We still need to see it in an NBA setting before we call them actually real. And to start the season, Scottie Barnes looked pretty good. He looked fine. There weren't really many concerns, but the problem was there to begin with. We just didn't quite see it. So out of the gate, Scottie Barnes was really struggling to get downhill and make his two-pointers. But what was masking that is that Scottie Barnes started the season so well shooting the three ball. And it was a little bit weird to see him adding in so much shooting. Like, this is a guy last season who wasn't a great three-point shooter. It wasn't a bad one. He shot 30% from three, which was better than we expected it to be going into that rookie season. But for this season, we wanted to see some improvements, but the volume of those shooting opportunities was a little bit strange. So there were some games where he'd have a pretty good stat line if you're looking at the box score, but I had concerns in my watch parties that we do on this channel for the Raptors games. I was concerned that the bulk of his points were coming from three-pointers. And I mentioned, okay, something like a 15 and 11 stat line. Like, that's good. That looks fine. But why are 12 of those 15 points coming on three-pointers? This is not his game. This is not the way he usually plays. And if he falls back down to earth on his three-pointers and his makeability percentage, then all of a sudden, these numbers are going to look really, really bad because he has no answers on the interior right now. And I got a little bit of slack for that. I don't really understand why. And now we're seeing his three-point percentage is really starting to decline. It's down to above 33%, which is good, but it's declined quite a bit from where it was earlier on in the season. And the two-point percentage has also not figured it out. Scottie Barnes, who is such a talented interior player, is shooting 47% on twos this season. He's just showing a complete and utter incapability of hitting routine two-foot shots, routine hook shots with his right hand that were like automatic for him last season, and one of the most inefficient possessions in the entire NBA for any team is Scottie Barnes in post-up situations. The Raptors are averaging such a low amount of points on those possessions because he's just not finishing there. He looks super uncomfortable with the ball in his hands. And again, this team needs him. Siakam is injured. VanVleet missed last game with a non-COVID illness. Like, this team needs Scottie Barnes to be playing well because we need to put points on the board and win some of these games. We looked bad against the Rockets, but they were bad enough that we still won. We got absolutely demolished by the Oklahoma City Thunder. And yesterday against the Pacers, we were up 8 going into the fourth quarter and got outscored 36-14 in that quarter. A big reason is the guy that should be stepping up here is Scottie Barnes. Like, OG looked great again yesterday, but he had no help. Scottie Barnes shot 4 for 16 from the field. He was 0 for 4 on his three-pointers. Now, granted, in that game, some things were better than what we've seen from Barnes. Like, he was rebounding the ball well. Honestly, his playmaking was fine, and he probably should have had more assists if any player could hit down three-point shots at a consistent rate. Yesterday, that was so bad in the shooting department. I've made my peace on that game. This one is just specific about Scottie Barnes. Defensively, he just looks lost. There was a possession where TJ McConnell was driving at Thaddeus Young. Thad was super comfortable just defending him properly. Scottie Barnes turns his back, runs towards the rim while he's supposed to be guarding Benedict Mathurin, who has looked like the 6th man of the year frontrunner despite being a rookie. Very good three-point shooter. Scottie just completely loses his concentration, runs off of that. Easy kick out for McConnell, easy three-pointer for Mathurin. There's also a couple situations where Isaiah Jackson just peeled to the rim. Scottie Barnes, a close defender. Nobody even goes near him. Easy 2 for Isaiah Jackson. And, that's just specific examples. There's just so many situations where Scottie Barnes, off ball and defense, has no awareness of anything that is going on around him. He is completely lost. He is sometimes a detriment to the defense. Overall, it wasn't as bad yesterday from an isolation standpoint, but that has been a concern as well. He's getting beat far too easily. And again, the points provided for us are not making up for these shortcomings here because he's finding an inability to just score in general. There's not a go-to thing for him to be able to put the ball in the basket with any degree of consistency. So he's having to rely on his three-point shots because one-on-one in isolation, you just can't get by anybody. The Raptors are trying to force him to be assertive and be aggressive, and he's just refusing to do so. He's not beating guys one-on-one and getting to the rim. When he's posting up, he looks like he doesn't have any go-to move that will allow him to score. There is just no method to get any points, so easiest thing to do is just take three-pointers, which teams seem moderately comfy with him taking, and taking deep twos, which they'll take all day. Now, Scottie Barnes is a great player. This 13-game start to the season where he's been slumping, or 14 games rather, where he's been slumping, he did miss one. So these 13 games to start the season for him have been poor. He's slumping hard. Does that mean he's a bad player? It does not mean he's a bad player. He's in the midst of the toughest stretch of his career so far, and it's what many people would say is a sophomore slump, the term I put in the thumbnail as well. The reason the NBA has coined the term sophomore slump so much is that these things happen quite often to sophomore players. You wouldn't necessarily expect it from the rookie of the year, but these things happen. And the reason these things happen is because you're coming into your second season where now teams need to focus on you a little bit more. Teams have a much bigger scouting report on you going into your game. So the things that were working last season are going to be taken away from you. So you need to continue to add on other parts of your game in order to continue to be effective, because you keep doing the same things, which he's trying to do right now. Well, teams know exactly what you want to do, and they're going to take that away. So the big step for a player as they want to progress in their NBA career, or any sport for that matter, is to continue to evolve your game, to add in different things, to keep the defenses guessing. Because as soon as they figure out that first thing, if you don't have a plan B, then you're just not going to be able to score. That is currently what we are seeing right now with Scottie Barnes. It's incredibly frustrating to watch him play like this. He has had all the opportunity in the world in this stretch to get out of this slump. We are forcing him to take the ball to the rim. He's either refusing or he looks like he doesn't care. A distinct lack of effort on both ends of the floor is hurting this team, and he is a player that we just cannot afford to have playing so poorly. So for Scottie Barnes, we need him to get out of this slump. It's so bad right now that I don't really know why he played 39 minutes yesterday. And here's another thing. People are blaming a supposed injury for his issues right now. You gotta stop blaming the injuries here. Scottie Barnes is not injured. He missed one game, but that was a long time ago. Nick Nurse earlier in the week said there is nothing about him injury-wise that should keep him out of a game, and he played 39 minutes yesterday. We just need to come to the reality. He is playing like shit, and we need that to improve. We desperately need that to improve, because it's been so bad that Raptors fans, not the majority, are starting to say, we should have traded him for Kevin Durant when we had the chance in the offseason. Now, quickly touch on this to end the video, but Kevin Durant, that saga, I was adamant you're not trading Scottie Barnes for Kevin Durant, as were like many neutral NBA fans all throughout the offseason. And the reason for that is that it's not like it was just Scottie Barnes for Kevin Durant straight up. It was Scottie Barnes plus all of the salary that you'd have to add in to match Kevin Durant's salary, which would probably include Gary Trent Jr. amongst other players. It would also be 3 first-round picks, likely unprotected. It would also be maybe 2 pick swaps to go along with that. It would be a boatload of picks, Scottie Barnes, and other salary filler. That trade didn't make sense for the Raptors to do. And we're not trading Scottie Barnes, or keeping Scottie Barnes, rather, for 13 games to start an NBA season. We're keeping him because we have him essentially on contract, if we want him to be, for 8 more years. Kevin Durant, at 34 years old, has 4 more years on his incredibly expensive contract. All of these thoughts went into that, and we're not just going to give up on the freaking Rookie of the Year after a poor start to the season, where some things are still going well. Now, I am immensely frustrated and starting to get infuriated with the way that he's playing and the way he's carrying himself on court, not looking like he cares at all. Just a complete lack of interest in helping this team win games. That is definitely a problem for me. But are we just really going to give up on this prized possession that we have, that we were saying we had last season after a bad stretch to start a season in his second year? 100%, we are absolutely not going to be doing that. Anybody who says that is either lying to get a rise out of me or somebody else, or are downright delusional. Scottie Barnes needs our support through this stretch. We need to provide him the support through this stretch, because I'm sure he sees a lot of things online. He needs to be held accountable for how downright horrendous he is playing, but we need to have the belief that he can bounce back out of this and help this team win games. Is that going to come tomorrow against the Pistons? Probably not. It's going to be a working process to help him develop some new skills to just liven up his game a bit more, but it's clear right now he needs to be the complementary player to guys like Siakam and less so Fred VanVleet. We just don't have these guys. It's going to look ugly for a bit. He can get out of it. He's too good of a player not to. So, if you guys did enjoy this video, drop a like to support the channel, and make sure you are subscribed to Amateur Hour Sports for more videos and content just like this. Help me on my road to 13,000 subs. You get a video on the off days, and on game days, there's a watch party live stream for every single game. Hope to see you at the one tomorrow. Our bogey team, the Pistons, but we need a win. Let's go get it.